Hello and welcome. This story is about Samuel Paty, the French schoolteacher that was beheaded on Friday the 16th of June 2020. Police have carried out dozens of raids, while the government has ordered a 6-month closure of a mosque and plans to dissolve a group that supports Palestinian militant group Hamas. Our fellow citizens expect actions, Macron said during a visit to a Paris suburb on Tuesday. These actions will be stepped up. Samuel Paty, a 47-year-old schoolteacher, was attacked on Friday the 16th of July 2020. On his way home from the junior high school where he taught just 25 miles northwest of Paris. On Wednesday evening, Macron will attend an official memorial with Paty's family and some 400 guests at the Sorbonne University, posthumously giving the teacher France's highest award, the Légion d'honneur. Paty had been the subject of an online hate campaign since showing pupils cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad during a class on free speech. The same images that sparked a bloody assault on the officials of a satirical magazine, Charlie Hebdo, when they were originally published 5 years ago. The history and geography teacher advised Muslim students to leave the room if they thought they might be offended. 7 people, including 2 minors, will appear before an anti-terrorism judge on Wednesday for possible indictments in Paty's case, according to a judicial source. 9 other people were freed Tuesday evening. Killer Abdullah Anzarov, an 18-year-old originally from Russia, was shot dead by police shortly after the assault. The disgruntled parent, who had fired up anger about Paty's lesson through messages on social media, had exchanged messages on WhatsApp with Anzarov in the days leading up to the murder. The material uploaded was widely shared, included by a mosque in the northern Paris suburb of Pantin. The French government ordered the mosque to close for sharing videos on Facebook, calling for action against Mr. Paty and sharing his school address in the days before his death. The Pantin Mosque, which has about 1,500 worshippers and is situated just north of Paris, will close for 6 months on Wednesday. The mosque expressed regret over the videos, which it has deleted, and condemned the teacher's killing. The head of the mosque, Mohammed Hanif, said he shared the video out of fear that Muslim children were being singled out in class. But the closure of the mosque marks one of its most significant moves after days of raids and tough rhetoric. Macron said a pro-Hamas group called the Sheikh Yassin Collective would be dissolved for being directly implicated in the murder, adding that formal decision had been taken at a cabinet meeting on Wednesday. The group's founder, Islamist radical Abdelhakim Sefarawi, is being held by police for publishing a video on YouTube insulting Paty. Macron has also added an international dimension to his anti-extremism efforts, asking Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin for strengthened cooperation in the fight against terrorism during a phone call on Tuesday. Russia had played down any association with the killer, saying Anzarov had never been in contact with their officials and had left the country more than a decade ago. Paty's beheading was the second knife attack claimed in the name of avenging Prophet Muhammad since a trial started last month over the Charlie Hebdo killings in 2015, when 12 people, including cartoonists, were gunned down for publishing Muhammad cartoons. The role of social media platforms has once again come under the spotlight after much of the anger against Paty was whipped up on Facebook. Paty's teaching colleagues said in a statement that they were deeply concerned about the impact of social networks, which they called a real scourge for their profession. The government has promised to create a new criminal offence that would punish anyone who endangers another person by publishing their details online, and the ministers held talks in the French bosses on social networks on Tuesday to discuss the fight against cyber Islamism. The killing has prompted an outpouring of emotion and solidarity in France, with tens of thousands taking part in rallies over the weekend across the country. Parliament observed a minute of silence on Tuesday, and thousands gathered for a silent march in the teacher's honour that evening. The grisly killing, in which the 18-year-old of the Chechen origin beheaded Paty in broad daylight outside his school in a middle-class Paris suburb, has left the country reeling. Investigators say the teenager was angered by his victim showing caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad, previously published by a satirical magazine, in a class of freedom of expression. Muslims believe that any depiction of the Prophet is blasphemous. The school parent that had posted the video online, accusing the teacher of showing naked pictures of the Prophet in class, were among the 7 presented to the judge. Richard Ferrand speaks of the lower house of Parliament, and a former teacher told BFM television that parents should stay out of the schools and leave teachers alone. One must hand back full authority to the teachers. Prosecutors say the attacker approached pupils outside the school and asked them to identify Paty as he left for home. They were also presented to the judge, as was Abdelhakim. Macron and other top officials, including the Interior Minister, have promised an intensified crackdown on Muslim organisations they find to be spreading hate. After the closure teacher of the mosque, they shared a video on its Facebook page before the attack. They condemned Patey and shared his address, have since apologised. Interior Minister Damanin said this week that France was being confronted by an enemy within. There are rising concerns about the possibility of collective punishment being meted out in France's response to Patey's killing. Damanin has threatened to close the collective against Islamophobia in France in an anti-racial civil society group promoting concerns from activists. We are concerned by the political pressures at the highest level of the French government, an intimidation campaign targeting the human rights organisation whose work is to address discrimination and hate crimes against Muslim citizens, said the European Network Against Racism. The murder, which has provoked a series of protests, carried echoes of the attack 5 years ago on Charlie Hebdo after the magazine published the cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. French regional newspaper Le Nouvelle République has received threats on social media after publishing a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad on its front page, one of its journalists said on Wednesday. Tens of thousands of people took part in rallies across France over the weekend to honour the school teacher Samuel Paty and defend freedom of speech. A silent march was held on Tuesday evening in the suburb northwest of Paris where he was killed. We will revisit this story as it develops. Thanks for watching, and if you like the video, give us a like and don't forget to subscribe.